Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a kind of special episode of the Genshin reaction stuff. Today, I'm going to have two completely different songs from two completely different volumes of the soundtrack from this game, and that's purely because they're both just around 2 minutes, and I figured it was kind of less efficient to do just one, wait a week, do the other. So I'm like, why not just do both? I know they're completely unrelated, but I'm going to steal how I do things from Blue Archive videos, and I'm basically going to react to the first song, give my thoughts, then the second song, then give my thoughts. So everything is kind of just in a train of that thought, and I don't forget to say anything. But with that said, let's listen to Sorush's Purity first, shall we? Let's go. It's a beautiful melody so far already. Ooh, and the oboe! Preach! This feels very like forest in the spring, not something I would expect in a desert, I guess, but maybe it's not? I just assume as much because of the picture. Yeah, this is very, like, forest sprite. I think some of the other songs recently have been in the forest, but from this volume of music too, so maybe that's why. Ooh. Gorgeous final chord. Wow, that was whew. All right, so I'm still taken away by that final chord. I don't have the piano with me. I can't just check what that chord was. I want to, but it would be very difficult for me to figure it out without a keyboard physically in the room with me. And like I was saying earlier in the song, how it felt kind of like a forest sprite or like things waking up. It felt like a dance in the forest in some spots. It had that springy, jovial energy that you would expect in songs of that type and of that message. I've always found a sort of innate delight in those types of songs. That's kind of how they're made, is to give you that joyous boost of energy. It's just the way that the compositions are made. And by the time you get to the point where the vocals kick in, then it starts to almost sound a little bit more mysterious, like there is a part of the forest that you're not confident about. And then there's almost a spot where you find the confidence or you recognize something, and then your journey continues. It carries through this entire like storyline just in the sound, and that is something I've talked about to death, and I just love how songs tell stories like that. And in this case, that's the type of story I was getting out of it. And again, just to mention that chord at the end, I love it. The oboe carried this song, I don't care what anyone says, and that chord finished it with a very, very thick gusto, and I absolutely love it. But I think that's about all I've got to say for that one. So let's move over to Nephrite of Deshret. I don't know what to expect from this one because it's a different sound, I assume, from the others. So let's hear it, shall we? Let's go. Ooh, softer. Ooh. Oh, that is different. All right. Woo. The Latin rhythm. I wasn't sure if it was going to go this way or if it was going to have a more like jazz thing going on. I mean, this isn't exclusively a Latin rhythm, but that's just where it's very common. Ooh. Oh. That's kind of interesting. That is interesting. I really can't tell if that song is more Latin inspired or more like Middle East, maybe India. It's kind of in that pocket too. Some of the notes being chosen there and like the language of it is hard to pin down for me because it could be either or, a mix of both. There's a lot happening in that one. I definitely didn't anticipate where it was going. Like I said, I kind of thought it might be going down more of like a basement jazz room kind of feel. But I was completely wrong. It ended up having a little bit more fun in the rhythm overall and the sound it was. It definitely became something a little bit more lively than I think I was ready for. I was more prepared for something slower, more toned down, kind of maybe lullaby in a way. I mean, all in all, just the groove, forgetting everything else about that song, was immaculate. That's one of my favorite drum grooves, is that like offbeat snare rhythm. I don't exactly know what it's called. I know there's a name for that type of rhythm. I'm just bad with that sort of thing. I've never been good with the names of certain rhythm types. I've just always been a player that plays to feel, so all I feel is that rhythm when I hear it. And when I hear that one, I'm like, yeah. It's just been a thing I've always done. I don't know what it is about it that makes me gravitate so much, but I love that rhythm. The melody was gorgeous too, of course. I'm not going to minimize that at all, but just speaking from drummer brain perspective, that's one of my favorite, like I would even call that a guilty pleasure kind of rhythm. It's just something that always wakes me up and makes my brain activate. I love that so much. That was a really fun song, and like I said, completely different from the prior, albeit that makes sense. They're completely different albums from probably different parts of the in-game world. But I digress. If you want to see more of these videos of me just talking about songs I think are cool in ways and certain aspects that I think are neat like this, you know how to follow me and support me and all that. And if you want to see a certain song, leave a comment below, and the ones that I usually get to next are the ones that are the most liked. So I will try my best to get to the one that you commented. Just make sure it's one that everyone else wants to hear too. Your best bet. And I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!